I'm Mike.
And I'm Pat.
And this is
NF
Nfgeeks. All right. Well, Pat, come here, Pat. Give me a hug, man, because I'm really happy that you're here because, Pat, I can't tell you how many emails I've received for INFP. At long last, they've been waiting patiently for an INFP, and at long last, we got an INFP. And I'm so happy that it's you, too.
No, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, it's great. Pat and I have a long history behind us. You know, I've had many misadventures through life. And so I'm really happy.
Some pro adventures.
Yeah, sure, right.
A few of those.
That's right. So I'm really happy about this, Pat. This is going to be a wonderful episode. Okay, so whenever I have a new type on, and what's really great, too, is that now the entire range of NF consciousness is represented.
Oh, excellent.
You know, I've had an ENFP, I've had an INFJ, I've had an ENFJ, and now you cap it off as now NF has been fully represented.
Fabulous.
Now that you're here. So you're sort of the crown, you're the jewel in the crown. Absolutely. Okay, so what I do with the first time when I have somebody on is to talk about the strengths and limitations of their type.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always the first thing I do. You know, sort of the world according to Mike, but still. And then you can comment on, you know, how this resonates with you, how it touches you, where it is in your life, all those things.
Cool.
Okay? All right. And as you know, I've logged a lot of INFP hours with various people. So I'm really strong on what INFP is all about. You'd think that would have helped me with INFPs, but no. Okay, so you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Absolutely.
Okay, great. All right, so here's my favorite strength of INFP that I've witnessed in all the INFPs. And you have it too, okay, because I've seen it in you. And that is that INFPs have what I call the Boy Scout oath. Okay, they have this oath. I mean, they're not literally in the Boy Scouts necessarily, but they've taken this oath. I do solemnly swear to do good in the world at all times, and usually it's for a specific cause or something. But at all moments, you're like Batman on call, 24/7.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree.
To this
I'm a
oath.
do-gooder.
Yes, yeah. And it's an oath, right? You won't break it, you know.
Yeah,
so when does that?
Unspoken.
Yeah, right, to yourself. All right. So when are you acting in your oath, or what is your cause, or when are you acting in this? I'm doing good in the world.
Whenever you can, you know. Opportunity arises. When you see something that needs to be done, you just do it.
What is there anything specific? Is there a specific area where you feel you're particularly dutiful?
What do you mean?
All right, let me give you an example where I've seen it. Okay, now you used to work at a park back near where we're from.
Very true.
And you sort of had this devotion to the park and nature where you would go there on days off. You'd go there and do things.
Yes, I volunteered.
Yes.
Free of charge.
Right, that's what I mean by INFP. So even though it was your day off, you were involved with nature, helping the park, helping nature.
And I love to do it.
Yes, absolutely. So do you feel that this oath manifests itself with your relationship with nature?
In the way that I interact with other people in the public.
Oh,
around
really?
Nature, yeah, certainly.
Oh, that's great. In what way?
Well, whenever somebody has a question about something that's going on in the environment, I want to be able to answer it.
Oh, that's wonderful. And what's your purpose in answering? Like, what are you trying to do what's your goal when they ask a question?
To talk about things that they're interested in.
Oh, wow.
Somebody has a question about, the trees, you don't tell them about the frog.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. All right, another quality that I like that is more symbolic, okay? But it seems to me that anytime there's a mythology or a story about the hero is going to be transforming, a transformation quest, that hero is an INFP.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about this.
Yes, it's always you. You know what I mean? It really is. I think it has to do with that. I do solemnly swear to save the world and help out, and I think somehow that makes you that person. So, do you ever see yourself as a transformative hero?
No.
Or
Not at all.
Do you understand the? All right. Well, let me ask you this: does it connect to you in any way as an INFP?
Not really.
So that's great. So you're humble. You have humility.
The idea of a grander story, centralized around me does not seem appealing at all.
Well, no, the hero is never happy to be the hero. It's not like the hero wants to be the hero. Frodo doesn't want to be going on that journey. It's killing him. You know? So, right, you wouldn't want it. If you wanted it, you wouldn't be an INFP.
Good point.
Right. So it's okay. He's a hero in my book. All right, so...
but, like Luke Skywalker...
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Right? Don't you gaze at the sunset?
But who wants to be Luke?
All right, nobody. It's a pain. It's terrible. It's suffering.
You're whiny? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, right, so you wouldn't want to be the hero. But that actually makes you the hero.
That's impossible.
No, it's true. No, none of the heroes want to be a hero. That's what makes it great. All right, so let's talk about some limitations. And I want to make this as easy and soft as possible, knowing my INFPs, but it actually relates to this. And because what I feel is that your greatest strength also gets turned against you. And I think that's your sensitivity. The INFP's ability to feel extremely deeply about things, and that then manifests in deeply felt pain that perhaps even unintentionally caused by someone else or something else, but that a very serious pain is hurt, where INFPs are hurt by things that maybe others wouldn't be, and then others don't get it. They're like, what, are you being a big crybaby? You know what I mean? And I have to admit, I've been like that too, because even though I have deep feelings, the INFP is deeper. So, you know what I mean? So, so how does that connect with you? Do you feel that sometimes your sensitivity is turned against you, or when does this manifest itself?
I can't think of specific examples of when it's been turned against me, but I definitely resonate with that.
Yes. Well, can you describe the feeling? Can you describe what it feels like, possibly?
It's sort of like being heartbroken, You
really?
get that tightness in your chest. And
that's
you
serious?
Want to throw up, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I'm reminded of this quote of, I'm in sort of biological sciences, so
right.
There's this quote, and I can't remember who said it, but ecologists think of the world basically as one series of tragedies or
really?
of catastrophes after another. It's like you're driving down the road and somebody squishes a squirrel. They don't care about the squirrel at all, but my heart goes out to it. And then you drive a little further and you see, there's a lot being cleared for a new convenience mall, and then you drive a little further and somebody's gas is leaking out the back of their car and they don't care. You drive a little further, you see an old strip mall that should have been just renovated by the previous one.
Yes, and I'm laughing because this is like an INFP nightmare.
Yeah, it is. It's waking up and going to work every morning.
Right, that's terrible. INFPs they have their own version of this out there, but yeah, that's a horrible nightmare. Do you find that? All right, again, I'm going to try to cushion it the best I can, but I find that sometimes INFPs, because they get so hurt and deep, they kind of sink to the bottom of like a melancholy swamp, where they're sort of down in the dark swamp of despair and whatever, and it's tough to get out because it's a swamp, so it's not like just water. There's things growing, it's thick.
Yeah. And that's part of being an idealist. Nothing ever turns out perfectly.
Oh, that's
and
wonderful.
You're never perfect, and nobody else is ever perfect.
Yes.
So everything fails your expectations.
This is why you're awesome, Pat, because that is so freaking INFP. That every INFP feels that way. That they had this wonderful idealist expectation that just flattened.
Yeah.
Flattened. They're all applauding you. Absolutely. That's a joke in Myers-Briggs is that INFP stands for it never feels perfect.
Oh.
Does that seem right? Poor Pat. That's okay. That's all right, but that's why you're the hero. That's why it's idealist. You're an idealist and you're the hero. That's great. All right, Pat, what I'd like to do now... All right, is there any other comments you'd like to say?
No, that's perfect.
Yeah, that's perfect. What I'd like to do now is talk about some NF values orientations that basically all the NFs share, so I share with you.
Supposedly.
Yes.
We'll see.
Well, no, man, what do you say? Okay. So I want to just name a few of them, and if you could talk about how you live in it, or act in it, or see it, any kind of your personal experience with it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so for example, an important part of NFness is empathy and the experience of empathy. I think INFPs have a very interesting empathy experience because of how deep you feel everything. So what can you say about your experience of empathy with anyone or anything in general?
It's really easy to notice when somebody doesn't have it.
Oh,
You know?
really?
It,
Yeah. Like what do you mean?
You know, it's so easy to, or at least for me, to put myself in somebody else's or some other thing's situation, like that squirrel that got hit on the road. I feel for that guy.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. You know, INFPs are like this is extreme, but INFP is like, you know, did anybody think of what Ava Braun was thinking, feeling? You know, did anybody think of her feelings? You know,
I know they didn't. But we do. So
I know. And that's what's so awesome. This is so awesome about INFP. All right, so tell me more about your empathy. So you're right, you empathize with the squirrel.
Or you know, anything else.
Really?
Um,
What can you think of? One experience I've been trying to communicate in Nfgeeks is that what makes NF empathy special and horrible is that for all the NFs, because all NFs have this to whatever degree, is that it stops us in our tracks. You know what I mean? Like like we cannot continue forward because.
Well, in the same way, if I see somebody that's really happy, you know that gets me off too. You know.
Oh, sure, that's great. Now, how often does that happen as an INFP?
I mean, in the real world, it's not perfect.
Exactly.
You know about that. But you know, you live for those moments.
Yeah, you guys certainly do. Absolutely. Oh, that's perfect. All right. All right. Another important sort of ability that NFs have is intuition, having intuitive moments. I've had a couple of discussions about this, about when we have intuitive moments that are sort of, and they hate that I use this word, but kind of mystical in a way. You know what I mean? We just have this moment where we just know things or connect with something, and can't always explain it, but it's right. So, how does that resonate with you as a person?
Well, I think if you're constantly putting yourself in other people's shoes, it's easier to sort of judge what group dynamics are going to bring. So, say we're doing group work, you're in your college course or whatever, and the professor is making you do stupid group work.
Yeah, an INFP nightmare.
And
Absolutely.
yes, you get lumped in with 3 students that can't pull your weight, and you go, oh, I'm going to have to be the leader. I have to totally step outside of my boundaries and delegate tasks to people, and then make sure everybody's doing their thing and chastise them if they're not doing their work.
Again, you've just verbalized an INFP nightmare.
Yes.
A nightmare.
And that will happen to you every time. There's never a group where you get to just, coast by and do your happy little independent thing.
And even when you get to the end, it's still a misery. Even if you guys did it well and you got an A, it was a heavy cost.
Nerve-wracking. Yeah.
Nerves, yes. That's back to the sensitivity. Absolutely. Pat, this is so perfect. I can't even tell you. All right. Another one has to do with idealism, specifically credulousness, meaning that NFs are so idealistic about the future. We're very future-oriented. And for us, the future is all rainbows and cupcakes and whales with wings flying by.
Is this why we like sci-fi?
Yes, exactly. Honestly, this is why a lot of NFs like Star Trek. Like, I like Star Trek for that reason.
I find Star Trek horrifying.
Why?
It's so idealistic that it becomes shocking to my sensibilities.
That's true. Okay, so what is your idealism like about the future? When does it come up? Is it about the world? When are you most idealistic looking forward? Personally?
Oh, in like the extreme long view, I guess.
Really? Like what?
When the human race is dead and nature has reclaimed the planet outside of our influence. Yeah.
So that's your ideal future.
Dark.
Yeah, the total. Yeah, well, INFP's kind of emo with that kind of stuff. So that's okay. That's what makes you beautiful. All right, so what you're saying is ideally, if nature, let's just look at the happy side.
Okay, cool.
Your idealized world is one where nature returns to a balanced state, and the earth is clean, and nature is, not being disrupted or imbalanced at all. Whether it's the ocean.
Terrible? Yeah.
No, right? It's an ideal. Of course not.
And maybe we can be there, but
yeah,
maybe not. It'd be fine with me too.
Okay, as long as we reach the ideal, you don't need. Sure. All right. Well, we only have a few seconds left. Do you have any last words you'd like to give about INFP or about anything? Any word of wisdom?
It's not always fun, but it's interesting.
Yeah, perfect. INFP. All right, great. Thank you, Pat.
Thank
Good
you.
job.